Welcome to the UnityScript YouTube channel, UnityScript Tutorials. This is episode 5 of the Shoot 'em Up mini-series, An Introduction to Video Game Development. In our last episode, we learned how to make some 3D models, and we threw those into our game, and our game looked a little bit more awesome. Now, we're going to make our game look even a little bit more awesome, and we're going to create some textures and some UV maps to put those textures onto the 3D models. In this episode, we're going to be using Gimp, which stands for Graphic Image Manipulation Program, and that is free on both PC and Mac, and it is going to be the image software program that we're going to be using in the Ultimate GameDev tutorial series. So, in case you haven't heard, there's a Kickstarter running right now, links in the description below, to a Kickstarter page for the Ultimate GameDev tutorial series. A tutorial series is going to teach you how to create an entire 3D adventure video game completely from the ground up using all free software. If you have any comments on this video, please let me know in the comments below, and I try to respond to as many comments as I can. Alright, let's go ahead and just jump right into this tutorial. Alright, so here we are inside of a new program, or at least new to this little mini tutorial series, and that is GIMP, which stands for Graphics Image Manipulation Program, I think that's what it stands for. But basically this is an image editor. So actually before we get into this, I'm actually going to do one thing. Let's go back into Blender and let's start with the enemy spaceship. So I'm going to press Control O and then I'm going to go to enemy spaceship and then I'm double click that. And there we go. Here we have our enemy spaceship. Alright, so now what we need to do is we need to create a UV map. So a UV map is basically something that's going to tell the computer where to put the image onto the 3D model, because we're going to create a 2D image and then we need to cut it apart and then put it onto a 3D model. So basically we're creating the instructions to do that. So inside of Blender, first let's start by selecting our lines. So let's select lines right here. Then I'm going to press A to unselect everything. And let's just start selecting things in chunks. So this side thing, let's select all of the sides of that. Like that. Actually, no, let's go the other way. So let's select all of them. And then over here, somewhere, here we go, under where it says UV map, and in case you can't see this, hit, oh wait, no, not tab, T. If you don't see it, hit T, and it'll come back. So we're going to select Mark Seam. So basically, we have marked a seam to cut on every single line on this 3D model, which is not normally the way that you want to do it. So let's actually start selecting some of these seams that we want to unmark. So we're kind of working backwards here. So this is a little bit unusual when it comes to 3D modeling, but for our purposes, this will work well. So what I'm doing is I'm basically unselecting things that could have like the same face. So that like this whole thing should be a shape. So I'm just selecting the edges that I don't want to be cut. So I have those selected. Let's select that one up there. Let's select these ones on top because I want those to be all one solid face when I'm actually designing this. Let's start with that and let's select clear seam over here. So now when I press A and unselect those, you'll see that some of these, like now, this will be all one big face. So it won't get cut apart into too many small pieces. And then all of the really small pieces are just kind of like inside of crevices like that. And like that little face in there, like that doesn't really matter that much. Like I don't even know if you can see it. And like that one, like you definitely can't see that. So most of them, they don't matter. And you know, this is also kind of like an evil Frankenstein looking thing. So if it looks like it's all Frankenstein together, that is okay. So let's press N to get this little thing out of our way. And then let's go up here to this corner where you can see those little lines in the corner. And let's just drag it over. And now we have two duplicates of the, I guess, scene view. Is that what it's called? Scene view? I don't know. But anyways, this particular view. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here and we're going to change it. Oh, 3D view. That's what it's called. So we have two copies of the 3D view. So let's change one of them to UV/image editor. So this is our UV map of what we have selected over here. So let's actually go over here and let's hit A to select everything. Well, I actually got to hit A twice. And actually, why is my things not showing up? Let me go over here. I need to hit that. Okay, there we go. Now you can actually see what I'm doing. So there you go. So in case you couldn't see my keys before, now you can. All right, so now that I have everything selected, we're just going to select unwrap. And it doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and just hit regular unwrap. And there we have it, has unwrapped everything. And we can redo it if that doesn't look right. Like we can do smart unwrap and see what that looks like. And it looks mostly the same. Let's see cube projection. That does not look good. I think just regular old unwrap seemed to work the best. Okay, so now you can see all the different faces of the enemy spaceship have been cut apart and put over here. And normally you'd want to go over here and let's select that there. Normally you'd want to go over here and you can kind of edit them just like you would in 3D view, except they're 2D. And you'd want to actually organize them around and actually make them look nice. But because there's so many little parts to this ship and we're not really going to make it look pretty, we'll spend a little bit more time on the player ship. But for now, let's just kind of leave this, let it be all Frankenstein and scary and all of that. So let's go ahead and press Control S and save that. So now that we have the UV information on this model. Next we need to go to UVs, export UV layout. There we go, that's what we want to do. And let's export that. Oh, we actually are inside of the asset folder. So enemy spaceship, and then let's just say UV map. There we go. And let's save that. And now when we go into Unity, now we should have this right here. So let me drag that so you can see it. So there we have the actual UV map, but we're not done yet. Let's edit that inside of Gimp. So here we have Gimp. I have Gimp opened up and I'm going to go to File, Open, and now I'm going to find it. And that is in here, then here, and then let's find Ship Game. There it is. Assets. There we go. And there is the enemy spaceship UVmap.png. So let's open up that image and let's move that so that we can see it a little better. Let me resize this window just a little bit. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to minimize Unity in the background and Blender in the background. There we go. So now we just see Gimp on the screen. So let's see, I need to change the zoom. Let's change it to like 50% or something like that. Now let's go over here to our layers and let's create a new layer. And here we have our new layer box. And yeah, let's go ahead and just leave it as, well, actually, let's leave it as white and then let's edit it from there. Now let's go to filters, noise, and let's do, I don't know, RGB noise. And then here we have another dialog box that we can edit up. All right, so let's just start dragging these around until it looks cool, basically. What does alpha do? Oh, alpha looks pretty good. Okay, let's go ahead and just kind of do it like that. And there we have just a little bit of texture, but let's just keep on editing it until we just get a cool looking texture that just covers the whole thing. Alright, so now to make this layer look just a little bit more cool, let's go to filters, and then artistic, and then let's go to predator, because that sounds cool. And I don't know, I just dragged it kind of, so the settings just in the middle, and let's go ahead and hit OK, and then it's going to load for a few seconds. And then it's going to add a pretty cool looking effect. And there you can see the effect for a second. But let's press Control-Shift-A to deselect everything. Or you can go to Select None right there. And there you have it. We have just kind of a cool looking effect. So I think that is what texture I want to be spread over the enemy spaceship. So now let's go ahead and go to Export. And let's drag this dialog box over here, and instead of UV map, let's change that to texture. There we go. And let's export that. And yeah, everything sounds good. So let's export it and just see what it looks like inside of Unity. So now we have it opened up inside of Unity. And there we go. There is the new texture. So I believe what we can do, there's actually two ways to do this. Let's do it the right way first. So let's right click on our project and then go to create. And then let's go to material. So a material is basically something that organizes how we put textures onto things. So let's call this enemy material. And then materials can have a bunch of different things. Like we can have a material that's bumpy. We can have a material that has reflections on it. And we just do a lot of cool stuff with materials. But let's just have a really, really simple material for now. And the simplest, whoops, let me go back to that. The simplest version of material is just called diffuse. So basically that means it's just going to slap an image on there. Nothing special. And it just needs one texture. And here is our texture, so let's drag and drop it there. So this is the texture that we created inside of Gimp, and as you can see, it is on a 3D sphere. We can like click to see it on different shapes. So it looks pretty cool. So let's put that onto our enemy. So as you can see, here is our enemy. Here's our gray enemy, and it has a default diffuse material on it, which basically just means gray. So if we drag and drop this material, I think we can either drag and drop it here or there. It'll do the same thing and it'll replace the old material. And then here is our enemy spaceship. It looks like, I don't know, one of those cyborg things from Star Trek. So let's go ahead and run our game and see what that actually looks like in game really quickly. And there we have the enemies. So not the prettiest things in the world. They're actually pretty ugly, and that's actually some pretty bad technique when it comes to creating textures. So let's see if we can do a little bit better on the player ship. But most of all, we just want to get through this really quickly because this tutorial is supposed to be really, really short. So let's go ahead and save our player ship, and let's press Control O. And then let's open up, oh, that is the wrong place. Is this the right place? Yes, here we go. Let's open up the player ship. So let's double click that. Let me just make sure that you can see my keyboard shortcuts. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to press N to get that out of our way. And let's start UV mapping this thing. So let's drag this over here. And then let's change it to UV image editor. All right, now let's select some of these lines. So we have line selected. So let's go over here, and everything's a little bit sideways, but that's okay. So I'm gonna hold shift and middle mouse to center it up. And let's start with the top of the ship. So I'm just gonna hold down shift, and I'm just gonna select a line that goes all the way around the top of the ship. And then I'll go over here to mark seam, and then we have that marked, so that looks pretty good. All right, what next? The wings. Let's cut apart the wings. So select that. Whoops, not that. Let's move over so we can see that, and that. And let me just rotate around. Yes, and let's get the other wing. So that. I can't see. Hold down shift. There we go. That and that. And that looks good. I have everything selected. Let's also hit mark seam on those. Alright, so already we're doing better than the enemy ship. So let's see, what else do we need to do after that? You're not even going to see the bottom of this ship. So I think it's going to be one big deformed weird looking shape when we un-UV map it. So let's just go in here and let's select a few lines just to make sure it cuts apart evenly and doesn't twist up things too much. So let's just go in there, let's cut that. Oh, I think I already have that line selected. And then let's select these lines. And I thought I had that line selected. And that should be good. I'm just making sure that it will be able to be cut apart and just to make sure things don't go too wrong, but we don't have to worry too much about the bottom of the ship being cut apart nicely because you can't even see it. All right, so we have all that done. So let's select it all. So A, and then let's unwrap, and let's just do regular old unwrap and see if that looks good. I think that looks pretty good, except for, I believe the top of the ship is kind of, is this the top of the ship? Let me see. I need to go over here. I think I need to select that button. And there we go. Okay, so let's select that. Okay, so this is the top of the ship. Okay, so I guess that's not too bad the way it did that, like right there. It kind of cut that apart, which isn't exactly what I wanted. And then here are my wings. That's okay. Actually, what we're going to do kind of a cool little trick. So let's select the wings, and then let's scale those, and then scale them on the x-axis. So they're scaling like that. And let's hit -1 on our number pad. And then let's hit the G tool, and then drag those on top of each other. And then it will copy the same image onto both wings. So let's do that with the top of the ship too. Alright, so let's select that, and that. And then let's scale x -1. And we're going to need to rotate that a little bit. So let's just hit R. That looks good. And let's grab it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Alright. And let's zoom in a little bit, see if we can get it a little bit better. Let's rotate a little bit. And that, rotate just a little more. Alright. There we go. That looks pretty good to me. Alright, so let's actually get everything else. Let's hit A, and select everything, and let's see, would we do Alt B or just B? Actually, here, let me unselect everything and then do B for box select, and then let's select it all like that. And there we go. Let's grab those and let's just stick them over here for a second. Let's hit B again. Well, actually, wait, no. I need to hit A to unselect it, then B for box select. And let's box select those, grab them, move them over there, hit B again for box select, and let's select everything else, and let's just scale it down and throw it over there because that's not going to be as important. Alright, now let's unselect that, hit B, sorry, and let's grab those and let's move those over here. Let's actually move it like that, and then I'm going to move the wings right there, and I'm actually going to scale them up so that we can make use of this space. So this is basically what UV mapping is all about, is just moving stuff around and just making the most use out of your 2D image and just planning how it's going to cut apart and be put onto your 3D model. So these are the two main things that we're going to want to edit in Gimp. So let's go ahead and press Control S and save this, and then let's go to UVs, export UV layout, and then let's add UV map to the name of that so we know what it is inside of Unity. Oh, I hope I saved it in the right folder. I guess we'll find out in a second. Looks like I did. Was this it? No. It should be... Where in the heck did I save it? Oh, here it goes. Oh, whoops. Okay, I made a little bit of a mistake. So let's actually go back into Blender. What I did was I had the wing selected, so let's unselect it, and then let's go to export UV map, and then it'll export the whole image. So let me find it. Here we go. Player ship UV map.png. There we go. We want to export that, and then we want to overwrite it. So when we go into Unity, okay, I messed up one more time. We need to select all of it and then export it. So this time I got it. It's going to export. And then when we go into Unity, there it is. There's our image. So let's open that up into Gimp. All right, so let's go to File, Open, Player ship UVMap.png. Let's open that up. And let's exit out of the enemy ship since we're done with that. And we could save this as a .blend file, or not .blend, .gimp. I don't know if it's called .gimp, but basically a GIMP file, but let's do that later. Alright, so here we have the player ship. Let's move this window down just a little bit and resize it so it all fits in here. Alright, great. And let's change the zoom to 50% so that we can see it all. And now let's create a new layer. Let's actually have this layer be transparent. Alright, so here what we're going to do is we're going to select this little lasso tool, and the cool thing about this lasso tool is that we can make a selection and we can either like draw a rough ugly circle like that and then click there to close it, or you can not drag your mouse and you can create straight lines like that and double click to close it, and you can get an accurate shape that way. So we're going to hit Control Shift A to deselect that. And let's start with the wings. So I want to create a cool outline for the wings. So I'm just going to select just kind of inside of these wings here. So let's select that, and let's double click to close it. And now let's grab our paint bucket and let's select something more like a light gray color like that. And then let's fill that in. Alright, cool. Let's do the same thing with the top of the ship. So let's grab our lasso tool again. So the difference with this one though is that this is the center of the, I guess, cockpit of the spaceship. Actually, you can see it down here. So there's a little center seam. So we're actually going to click outside of there. Then we're going to click there, there, and once again we're going to create kind of the same outline that we sort of have on the wings, except we're going to go outside this edge so that they meet up a little bit better. And then let's grab the fill bucket tool and let's do the exact same thing. And now that we've done that, let's Control Shift A, and then let's go to filters, and then let's add some noise. Let's do RGB noise again, just so that it has a little bit of texture to it. And there we go. So now it kind of looks like TV fuzz a little bit. So let's actually go to filters and let's go to artistic and let's add something cool from here. Alright, actually I changed my mind. Instead of going to artistic, we're actually going to go to blur, and then we're going to go to motion blur, just like that. And then motion blur, let's change, let's see, length and angle. So let's actually move here so that we can see what we're doing. There we go. So that's what it's going to look like in the end. So let's change the length of it to something longer, and let's change the angle. Let's just set it to 90 degrees, and that looks pretty cool. So let's go ahead and hit OK and see what that looks like. That looks pretty cool, I think. So let's create a new layer underneath that, and let's go ahead and make it white. We'll just start off with white, and it looks like that transparent looking stuff just ended up staying on there. So I think this might actually look kind of cool, and since we're in a time crunch, let's go ahead and just leave it the way it is right there. We could continue to develop it and edit it more if we wanted to. Actually, I could go and add a new layer and then make that layer transparent, and we could go to our brush tool and then pick a color like red or something, and we could add like some cool graffiti, like I don't know, something like that. Like maybe it's like some sort of alien space tribe or something kind of cool like that. And then we can add I don't know, this will be like the cockpit. Like I don't know, maybe they graffitied their cockpit and made it look kind of cool, but or you can, you know, just remove that layer if you want, if you don't want that there. But I'm gonna leave it there. Maybe there's a little bit of lore in there, I guess, a little bit of backstory to the game. Alright, so let's change the name of this from UV map to texture. So texture, and really we're just doing that just to stay organized. So let's hit export. Whoops, export. And here we have our settings right here. Let's leave them all as default, and let's hit export, and it's exporting, and it should be good. So let's open up Unity and see if it's in there. Yes, it is. Okay, so now I'm actually going to show you a quicker way to create a material. So remember when we just went to create material and we did it that way? Actually, one thing we can do is we can grab our texture and just drag and drop it right onto the game object, and it will automatically create the material for us, and it will create a folder called material, and you can see player ship texture. So let's drag and drop that into assets so that it's just in our big list of everything that we're using in the game. So as you can see, we've actually accumulated a lot of stuff in our game, even though our game is so simple. And there you can see our ship has a texture. So we could spend some more time and actually make that texture look a little bit better. But for the sake of keeping this tutorial short, I think we're just going to keep it the way it is because it looks kind of cool actually. Let's actually make those bullets like a transparent green or something along those lines. Actually, where are the enemies? There they are. Okay, just wanted to make sure it was still working. Let's go to create. Where am I looking? Material, and let's call this bullet material. And let's see, let's go to, I think we can go to particles additive. I think this might look cool. And let's make it like a bright green. That looks good, except maybe I need to make it lighter. No, let's see, let's try particles additive pre-multi. No, that's not it. This is mostly what I do when I'm editing my materials. I just like to just kind of edit things until they look cool. I guess we're just going to leave it as a bright green. That looks pretty good. We're just going to drag and drop it on the bullets. And now we should have some bright green bullets. There we go. That looks pretty cool. And when the enemies come down, we can shoot them. And our game is looking pretty good, I think. Or at least for how short these tutorials have been. I think it's a... you know, we may do with what time that we have. So yeah, I guess that's everything that we need to go over in this tutorial. So we only have one more tutorial left, and that is going to be how to export the game and basically give it to your friends and put an icon on it and cool little stuff like that. So that'll probably be a pretty short tutorial. So yeah, I guess until that video. Oh wait, no, let me give me blah, 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 blah. Okay. I need to re-sentence my structures, restructure my sentences. I've been talking too long. Okay, there is a Kickstarter for the Ultimate Game Dev tutorial series where I'm going to teach you how to create an entire video game from the ground up. And this tutorial series is kind of like a little sample of the tools that we're going to be using in that tutorial series. So if you want to know about that Kickstarter, there's going to be a link to the Kickstarter page in the description below, or links to information about the Kickstarter. So if that interests you, then definitely go check that out. And until my next episode, I will see you later, and keep making games.